Elon Musk is a South African-born American entrepreneur and businessman who founded X.com in 1999, which later became PayPal, SpaceX in 2002, and Tesla Motors in 2003. Musk became a multimillionaire in his late 20s when he sold his startup company, Zip2, to a division of Compaq Computers. Elon Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria. I'd like to dial it back 5% or 10% and try to have a vacation that's not just an email with a view. My vision is for a fully reusable rocket transport system between Earth and Mars that is able to refuel on Mars. This is very important, so you don't have to carry the return fuel when you go there. I think most of the important stuff on the internet has been built. There will be continued innovation, for sure, but the great problems of the internet have essentially been solved. The revolutionary breakthrough will come with rockets that are fully and rapidly reusable. We will never conquer Mars unless we do that. It'll be too expensive. The American colonies would never have been pioneered if the ships that crossed the ocean hadn't been reusable. I'm a Silicon Valley guy. I just think people from Silicon Valley can do anything. I wish we could be private with Tesla. It actually makes us less efficient to be a public company. It's obviously tricky to convert cellulose to a useful biofuel. I think actually the most efficient way to use cellulose is to burn it in a cogeneration power plant. That will yield the most energy, and that is something you can do today. Stationary storage will be as big as the car business long term. The growth rate will probably be several times what it is for the car business. If anyone thinks they'd rather be in a different part of history, they're probably not a very good student of history. Life sucked in the old days. People knew very little, and you were likely to die at a young age of some horrible disease. You'd probably have no teeth by now. It would be particularly awful if you were a woman. It would take 6 months to get to Mars if you go there slowly, with optimal energy cost. Then it would take 18 months for the planets to realign. Then it would take 6 months to get back, though I can see getting the travel time down to 3 months pretty quickly if America has the will. I would like to fly in space. Absolutely. That would be cool. I used to just do personally risky things, but now I've got kids and responsibilities, so I can't be my own test pilot. That wouldn't be a good idea. But I definitely want to fly as soon as it's a sensible thing to do. Yeah, well, I think anyone who likes fast cars will love the Tesla. And it has fantastic handling, by the way. I mean, this car will crush a Porsche on the track, just crush it. So if you like fast cars, you'll love this car. And then oh, by the way, it happens to be electric and it's twice the efficiency of a Prius. We polled Tesla owners on do they want autopilot disabled or not. Not one person wanted it disabled. That's pretty telling. SpaceX has the potential of saving the US government $1 billion a year. We are opposed to creating an entrenched monopoly with no realistic means for anyone to compete. There's no better place in the world for technology startups than Silicon Valley. There's such an incredible well of talent and capital and resources. The whole system is set up to foster the creation of new companies. You need to live in a dome initially, but over time you could terraform Mars to look like Earth and eventually walk around outside without anything on. So it's a fixer-upper of a planet. A utility can handle up to 20% of production from solar, and it helps the grid because it produces electricity when needed. Solar power peaks in the middle of the day, and that's also when air conditioning is running and businesses are operating, so power production matches usage. There are some important differences between me and Tony Stark. I have 5 kids, so I spend more time going to Disneyland than parties. It's not as though we can keep burning coal in our power plants. Coal is a finite resource, too. We must find alternatives, and it's a better idea to find alternatives sooner than wait until we run out of coal, and in the meantime, put God knows how many trillions of tons of CO2 that used to be buried underground into the atmosphere. If you want to grow a giant redwood, you need to make sure the seeds are okay, nurture the sapling, and work out what might potentially stop it from growing all the way along. Anything that breaks it at any point stops that growth. I think whenever there's something that affects the public good, then there does need to be some form of public oversight. There are really 2 things that have to occur in order for new technology to be affordable to the mass market. One is you need economies of scale. The other is you need to iterate on the design. You need to go through a few versions. I'm reasonably optimistic about the future, especially the future of the United States, for the century, at least. I feel very strongly that SpaceX would not have been able to get started, nor would we have made the progress that we have, without the help of NASA. It is true that SpaceX is partially a government contractor, but it would be unfair to say that SpaceX is entirely a government contractor. I have made the mistaken assumption, and I will attempt to be better at this, of thinking that because somebody is on Twitter and is attacking me that it is open season. And that is my mistake. The U.S. automotive industry has been selling cars the same way for over 100 years, and there are many laws in place to govern exactly how that is to be accomplished. I like the word autopilot more than I like the word self-driving. Self-driving sounds like it's going to do something you don't want it to do. Autopilot is a good thing to have in planes, and we should have it in cars. I think the high-tech industry is used to developing new things very quickly. It's the Silicon Valley way of doing business. You either move very quickly and work hard to improve your product technology, or you get destroyed by some other company. Obviously, Tesla is about helping solve the consumption of energy in a sustainable manner, but you need the production of energy in a sustainable manner. You need to be in the position where it is the cost of the fuel that actually matters and not the cost of building the rocket in the first place. In the case of Apple, they did originally do production internally, but then along came unbelievably good outsourced manufacturing from companies like Foxconn. We don't have that in the rocket business. There's no Foxconn in the rocket business. I'm trying to construct a world that maximizes the probability that SpaceX continues its mission without me. Winning Motor Trend Car of the Year is probably the closest thing to winning the Oscar or Emmy of the car industry. I'm personally a moderate and a registered independent, so I'm not strongly Democratic or strongly Republican. Trying to read our DNA is like trying to understand software code, with only 90% of the code riddled with errors. It's very difficult in that case to understand and predict what that software code is going to do. Silicon Valley has some of the smartest engineers and technology business people in the world. My background educationally is physics and economics, and I grew up in sort of an engineering environment. My father is an electromechanical engineer. And so there were lots of engineering things around me. In order for us to have a future that's exciting and inspiring, it has to be one where we're a space-faring civilization. What I'm trying to do is to make a significant difference in spaceflight, and help make spaceflight accessible to almost anyone. If we're going to have any chance of sending stuff to other star systems, we need to be laser-focused on becoming a multi-planet civilization. A Prius is not a true hybrid, really. The current Prius is, like, 2% electric. It's a gasoline car with slightly better mileage. I think a lot of the American people feel more than a little disappointed that the high water mark for human exploration was 1969. The dream of human space travel has almost died for a lot of people. If you had to buy a new plane every time you flew somewhere, it would be incredibly expensive. I was born in Africa. I came to California because it's really where new technologies can be brought to fruition, and I don't see a viable competitor. The reason we should do a carbon tax is that it's the right thing to do. It's economics 101, elementary stuff. In the early days of aviation, there was a great deal of experimentation and a high death rate. Even if producing CO2 was good for the environment, given that we're going to run out of hydrocarbons, we need to find some sustainable means of operating. It's important that we attempt to extend life beyond Earth now. It is the first time in the 4-billion-year history of Earth that it's been possible, and that window could be opened for a long time. Hopefully, it is, or it could be opened for a short time. We should err on the side of caution and do something now. There's nothing. I've bought everything I want. I don't like yachts or anything, you know. I'm not a yacht person, and I've got pretty much the nicest plane I'd want to have. There have only been about a half-dozen genuinely important events in the 4-billion-year saga of life on Earth: single-celled life, multi-celled life, differentiation into plants and animals, movement of animals from water to land, and the advent of mammals and consciousness. The odds of me coming into the rocket business, not knowing anything about rockets, not having ever built anything, I would have to be insane if I thought the odds were in my favor. The rumors of the demise of the U.S. manufacturing industry are greatly exaggerated. Government isn't that good at the rapid advancement of technology. It tends to be better at funding basic research. To have things take off, you've got to have commercial companies do it. What most people know but don't realize they know is that the world is almost entirely solar-powered already. If the sun wasn't there, we'd be a frozen ice ball at 3 degrees Kelvin, and the sun powers the entire system of precipitation. The whole ecosystem is solar-powered. Automotive franchise laws were put in place decades ago to prevent a manufacturer from unfairly opening stores in direct competition with an existing franchise dealer that had already invested time, money and effort to open and promote their business. The lessons of history would suggest that civilizations move in cycles. You can track that back quite far: the Babylonians, the Sumerians, followed by the Egyptians, the Romans, China. We're obviously in a very upward cycle right now. And hopefully, that remains the case. But it may not. The X is an amazing car, but we kind of got carried away with the art and technology. Obviously, you want great art. You want great technology. But we did get a little distracted from our mission, which was to advance the cause of electric vehicles, and it probably delayed us a little bit with the Model 3 as well.